Everything begins on the verge of awareness. The dawn is not, and then is. Sleep is, and then is not. In between the awakening, the passage of thin light between breaks open the day. The passage of thin sound between flows into the day. Too soon the realities of this uncertain time come upon us. Let the soft haze hang again across the row of morning. Wait upon the narrow moment, the first awareness of being in between. Live days and seasons on the thin edge of dawn, in praise that every single thing begins now. Good morning. I am Karen Gustafson, interim minister, coming to you from my home in northern Minnesota. Whether the Unitarian Church of Evanston is your spiritual home, or you are seeking comfort and connection in uncertain times, we are grateful that you are with us. We are an inclusive and welcoming community seeking truth in love and striving to nurture the human spirit for a world made whole. We are guided by our principles, which remind us in every moment and through every challenge that each of us matters and that we are all connected through the vast and beautiful web of existence. Together, let us remember our oneness, our kinship with one another, and may we hold one another in heart and mind with tenderness and careful attention. There are many links of connection in the comments section, including credits for the readings, to virtual religious education, for donations, and to be added to our email reminder list, or our email newsletter list. A few announcements. Starting this week, the all-church Zoom meeting will be on Wednesday at 5:30 instead of Thursday. We'll send a reminder in the email in the early afternoon on Wednesday with this link. And we will hold a virtual coffee hour after the service for 30 minutes on Zoom. You can find the link to the Zoom coffee hour in the comments below or from the newsletter. And now we invite you to get your chalices ready to set a place for yourself and your family as we join in beloved community.
As we light our chalice, join in this reading from your homes. In times of darkness, we stumble toward the tiny flame. In times of cold, we seek the warming fire. In times of repression, we reach for the lamp of truth. In times of loss, we pray for the comforting light. In times of joy, we light a candle of celebration. Spirit of life, as we kindle this light, help us find what we need this day. And please join in the words of our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Now please join in singing along to our hymn, Love Will Guide Us, led by tenor section leader Morgan Mastrangelo.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
Today's time for all ages is If You Give a Mouse a Cookie by Laura Numeroff, illustrated by Felicia Bond. If you give a mouse a cookie, he's going to ask for a glass of milk. When you give him the milk, he'll probably ask you for a straw. When he's finished, he'll ask for a napkin. Then he'll want to look in the mirror to make sure he doesn't have a milk mustache. When he looks into the mirror, he might notice his hair needs a trim. So he'll probably ask for a pair of nail scissors. When he's finished giving himself a trim, he'll want a broom to sweep up. He'll start sweeping. He might get carried away and sweep every room in the house. He may even end up washing the floors as well. When he's done, he'll probably want to take a nap. He'll crawl in, make himself comfortable, and fluff the pillows a few times. He'll probably ask you to read him a story. So you'll read to him from one of your books, and he'll ask to see the pictures. When he looks at the pictures, he'll get so excited he'll want to draw one of his own. He'll ask for paper and crayons. He'll draw a picture. When the picture is finished, he'll want to sign his name with a pen. Then he'll want to hang his picture on your refrigerator, which means he'll need Scotch tape. He'll hang up his drawing and stand back to look at it. Looking at the refrigerator will remind him that he's thirsty. So he'll ask for a glass of milk. And chances are, if he asks for a glass of milk, he's going to want a cookie to go with it.
Eileen, you're muted again.
I thought I unmuted. Anyway, thanks, Adam. Appreciate your help with that. We invite you to enter your concerns and gratitudes, joys and sorrows in the comments at this time. And if possible, if you can type them in all caps, it's helpful in distinguishing these from general comments. I promise I won't shout them. I know many of you have already added your comments and I've captured them up to this point. So as you're enjoying this recording of There's a River Flowing in My Soul, please enter your comments now. From Jean Cunningham, she's thankful for friends, Barb, Rob, Jane, and Bruce, who we can connect with electronically, and for introducing us to UCE. From Kristen Larson, Craig was discharged from Northwestern on March 17th. We are well able to access telehealth care. Many thanks to those who provided meals, groceries, and messages of care and concern. From Christine Peters, this weekend is 29 years since David Linzell and I were married in our beloved sanctuary. It's hard to know how to celebrate the occasion without him. Thank you to Gregory for his gift of music every week, from Amy Grabowski, and lots of thanks for Morgan's song leading. Melanie Kitchener writes, my UU minister in Topeka has finally become a grandmother. Trudy Davis, I'm grateful that my children are all safe from the virus so far, and me as well. From Patricia Lenore, I'm so glad to be watching and listening to this beautiful and creative service. Amy Grabowski, happy birthday to my brother Phil. I'm so grateful to have him back in my life again. From Lee Banner, I wish we could go see our granddaughter. From Ann McAllister, I'm so grateful that my daughter Amalia is with me during this time of uncertainty. From Jean Durkin, concerns for the first responders that are here and throughout the world risking to heal us. From Donna Schiller, I am grateful to the folks at UCE who have reached out to me over the days. Peace to all. From John Siegel, I'm thankful that my relatives all seem to be safe and well. From Shirley Adams, offering sympathy to Carol Johnson as she deals with the death of her dad. And from Joe Romeo, grateful for Zoom. Amen. We hold these joys and sorrows, these concerns and gratitudes together in community. Though we are physically apart, we are united in spirit and in our shared mission. May we be well, may all beings be well, may we together create peace. Please join in our sung response again, led by Morgan.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul.
Our reading this morning is a poem that I believe has been widely circulated that captures so much of the power of this moment. It's called Lockdown by Father Richard Hendrick. Yes, there is fear. Yes, there is isolation. Yes, there is panic buying. Yes, there is sickness. Yes, there is even death. But they say that in Wuhan, after so many years of noise, you can hear the birds sing again. They say that just after a few weeks of quiet, the sky is no longer thick with fumes, but blue and gray and clear. They say that in the streets of Assisi, people are singing to each other across the empty squares, keeping their windows open so that those who are alone may hear the sounds of family around them. They say that a hotel in the west of Ireland is offering free meals and delivery to the housebound. Today, a young woman I know is busy spreading flyers with her number through the neighborhood so that the elders may have someone to call on. Today, churches, synagogues, mosques, and temples are preparing to welcome and shelter the homeless, the sick, The weary all over the world. People are slowing down and reflecting. All over the world, people are looking at their neighbors in a new way. All over the world, people are waking up to a new reality, to how big we really are, to how little control we really have, to what really matters, to love. So we pray and we remember that yes, there is fear, but there does not have to be hate. Yes, there is isolation, but there does not have to be loneliness. Yes, there is panic buying, but there does not have to be meanness. Yes, there is sickness, but there does not need to be the disease of the soul. Yes, there is even death. There can always be the rebirth of love. Wake up to the choices you make as to how to live now. Today, breathe. Listen behind the noises of your panic. The birds are singing again. The sky is clearing. Spring is coming, and we are always encompassed by love. Open the windows of your soul, though you may not be able to touch across the empty spaces. Sing.
Si ritrovarla, io giuro, amor, amor, mi muove. Se fosse in vero a Giove, io la ritroverò. Se fosse in vero a Giove, io la ritroverò. Se fosse in gremo a Giove, la troverò, sì, la troverò. Si ritrovarla io giuro, amore, amor mi muove. Se fosse in gremo a Giove, io la ritroverò. Se fosse in gremo a Giove, la troverò, sì, la troverò. Sì, la ritroverò, sì, la ritroverò, 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 la ritroverò. Pegno adorato e caro, e mi lusinchi al meno. Ah, come al labbro e al seno, come ti stringerò.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Morgan. I feel you are singing for all of us. Well, in the early weeks of March, when we were just becoming aware of the possibility of social distancing, quarantine, shelter in place, I, along with the prudent, the panicked, and the practical, began to assess the contents of my pantry and my freezer. We live about 8 miles from the nearest grocery store, and so I am in the habit of stocking up on things before I think I need them. Well, after a couple of medium-sized hauls, I was reasonably confident that except for lettuce and bananas and milk, there were ample supplies to feed me and my husband well into the foreseeable future. A more careful inventory revealed that we might run out of ketchup. So later that day in the city on another errand, I stopped at the large supermarket near the university. I arrived at the checkout line with 2 bottles of ketchup, 2 jars of capers, and a bottle of red wine vinegar. On either side of me in line were folks with piles of toilet paper and frozen pizza and heaps of macaroni. It may have been my imagination, but I thought I caught my shopping partners looking suspiciously at the contents of my cart, which caused me to quip, "Yep, you don't want to get caught in a pandemic without the right condiments." In the weeks since that exchange, I have spent essentially in or near my home. I have had ample time to think about many things that include what I could get caught without, and subsequently, of course, could do without. I have, in fact, always had enough, plenty even. I grew up with smart, resourceful parents who lost nothing in the Great Depression because they had nothing to lose. Through pluck and luck, they ran a successful small business, owned a home, traveled some, and died at an appropriate age when enough was still enough. Now, in these days of forced musings, I am aware of how difficult it is to find that story in the present climate, of how many stories of our time look like the story of the mouse who wants a cookie. As I look at my own life in this time of shifting resources, I wonder how much of my story is reflected in that story of the mouse that finds that one fulfilled wish, need, or wants so often leads to another. The partnership between the boy and the mouse, one whose needs seem insatiable and the other whose insatiable need seems to meet them, seems somehow familiar. Something perhaps about the nature of capitalism. How many milk and cookie cycles before something actually runs out? Caught in the intensity of the cycles, neither the boy nor the mouse seem likely to ask, how much is enough? So today I sit surrounded by the accumulation of a lifetime and find that this is the question that underlines everything affecting our future. How much is enough? We are in such a situation now in which we are awash with questions of sufficiency. Do we have enough toilet paper? Enough choices on Netflix? Enough macaroni and frozen pizzas? Which will the food supply chain stretch across the coming weeks and provide us tasty and healthy options? Will there be Easter baskets for our children? Will I run out of ketchup or capers? the things to read. At the very same time, we are faced with questions of enough surgical masks, or hospital beds, or ventilators, or doctors and other health professionals, or enough meals for the homeless, or enough money in the federal coronavirus aid package to rescue the US economy, which is based in significant part on everybody always wanting and needing more, and our fear of not enough. I am not an economist in any sense of the word, but my observation is that we have come to depend on an economic system that relies upon the perception of insufficiency. The crisis we are facing is not, is there enough? It is the moral crisis that has occurred in a capitalist society in which many of us are unwilling or unable to distinguish our needs from our wants. In the words of the poet, yes, there is sickness, but that does not need to be a disease of the soul. The seventh principle of Unitarian Universalism is that we affirm and promote the interdependent web of existence of which we are all a part. This time, among so much else, is an opportunity for us to take stock of how we are each a part of that web. As we are cloistered in our homes, surrounded by accumulations of lifetimes, might we take this time to think about what it is that we are asking of the web. It is tempting to think that we are simply waiting this out, that there will be a new normal that will hold all of the best of the old normal. If we can just survive, we can return to business as usual. But what if instead this were the gateway into a new beginning, the threshold time in which the collateral advantage that we are observing becomes a more permanent part of our way of being? People are cooking at home. Families are eating together. Car accidents are decreasing. Yes, people are out of work, and that is not good. But what if this were a time when families could engage in conversation about wants and needs so that return to work might happen in a different spirit? When dreams could be reassessed and hopes and expectations could be revisited? Could we resist the pull to fill time with mindless activities that divert us from the reality of our human vulnerability and find ways to share the stories of our lives, to remember the past and to find the story of sufficiency that could unfold into a more sustainable future? The truth is that the mouse isn't looking for a cookie. He is looking for love, for connection. This insight was brought to me this morning by my daughter as I talked to her about my message today. Asking how much is enough is asking if the web of life will support us. When we believe in our connection with one another, in our interdependence, we can think about enough as enough to go around. The scrabble for the last roll of toilet paper on the warehouse shelf is asking if there is enough for an individual, a household, an unfolding of the anxiety that stems from not understanding or trusting this interdependence. Capitalism depends on this mistrust. Isolation can feed our anxiety. It is a challenge to our connection. Enough may be more a practice than a quantity. It is a practice grounded in careful and loving attention to seeking the difference between needs and wants, and a willingness to examine and release the wants that separate us from others. When we are connected, our anxiety may lessen. We can still care for one another. There can be enough. Here are some ways that this is starting to look at our house. At our house, we are learning in our 70s how to do work electronically. My husband is a teacher who is adapting to online course presentations so that his students can complete the semester. I am continuing to support your congregational transition by encouraging you to build on what it is that you have learned in the last year about how leveraging your tremendous assets and avoiding the pitfalls of reactivity are essential to a sustainable future. This involves many hours of screen time, which have brought awareness of looking my age to a whole new level of appreciation. And John, my husband, is fed by his connection to his students as I am fed by my connection to you and your unknown future. We're calling and texting and Facebooking and emailing and FaceTiming with loved ones near and far, many of whom we have not contacted for a long time. Sometimes we watch movies, and we always balance that by watching the news. And between times, there are lots of tears for sadness for the world, for the big feels of all kinds, anger at the ignorant arrogance of our nation's leaders, for the loss of life, preventable or not, frustration at the short-sightedness of economists who would put saving the economy above human life, who define legacy in terms of financial resources. I have tears of gratitude for a life well lived, humility for the health and safety I am experienced, seeing that so many lack, of vulnerability in the face of a broken wrist, the result of a moment of inattention. And I have tears of grudging appreciation in the face of this virus, this force of nature lurking in the spaces between us and in the threads that connect us. Threads of renewed and long-held kindness and compassion that call us to cross and weave more securely into the web of life. I have tears of realization of how easy it is to get lost in busyness and acquisitions that get between me and what is most important. I am striving to heed the words of the poet. Wake now to the choices you make as to how you live now. Today, breathe. Listen. Behind the factory noises of your panic, the birds are singing again. The sky is clearing. Spring is coming, and we are always encompassed by love. Open the windows of your soul. I invite you to join with me in this time with your tears and with your gratitude, with your fears and your losses, to find the wellspring of what you have and hold it in balance with what you have not. And know that in our connections, there is enough. May it be so.
We share half of our loose plate collection today, as this is the 5th Sunday of the month, with the Brennan Center for Justice, which continues to defend democracy, reform justice, and protect the Constitution. Recently, in response to the coronavirus, the Brennan Center is focusing on 3 priorities. First, it is advocating to make the 2020 election more accessible through universal vote by mail and other measures. Second, it is pushing for Congress to prevent presidential overreach in response to the emergency. And crucially, it is shining a light on the overcrowded and unhygienic conditions in our prisons due to mass incarceration. Please give as generously as you are able, and may what you give bring you joy. You can text to give, send in a check, or give from our website. Enjoy this piece Franz Liszt's Consolation Number 3, played by Gregory Shifrin. The flame is extinguished, but not our hope for the future, our courage in the crisis, or the love we share in all the world.
Following the benediction, we will hear a piece sung by the Evanston Children's Choir, combined with our UCE choir. The arrangers say this of the piece: its juxtaposition of a European chant melody and an anti-apartheid song from South Africa. This piece is a celebration of diversity. The arrangements reflect our respect for divergent musical style and points us toward our innate, though sometimes neglected, potential for peaceful coexistence. And now our benediction. Somewhere. Here it is. Sorry. This is a poem from Laura Kelly Fanucci called When This Is Over. When this is over, may we never again take for granted a handshake with a stranger, full shelves at the store, conversations with neighbors, a crowded theater, Friday night out, the taste of communion, a routine checkup, the school rush each morning, coffee with a friend, the stadium roaring each deep breath, a boring Tuesday, life itself. When this ends, may we find that we have become more like the people we wanted to be, what we were called to be, we hope to be, and may we stay that way, better for each other because of the worst.
Almighty.